3 games left. Thank God. I cannot wait for the end of the season. This has been complete misery from start to finish. And we only have a few more games to break down on this season. And hopefully we can have a better campaign next year. Let's get into it, guys. But first, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more. A Champions League spot is almost secured, and we still have our own fate in our hands. But the fact we have allowed it to reach this point in a Premier League season where the level has been relatively poor and so many other clubs have been inconsistent is simply not good enough. Yesterday's loss against Manchester United, which allowed them to complete the double over us this season, shows exactly how we are creating our own problems. Were they the better side over the full 90 minutes? Absolutely not. But did we play well enough to sit here and say we did not deserve to lose? That is also not true. Yes, we came into the game with almost every starting striker unavailable for selection. And of course that made things harder, but that still does not excuse waiting for a struggling United side to basically hand us 2 goals before we finally started to look like a team that wanted to get back into the game. And that is what makes this result even more frustrating. This was not a United side full of confidence. This was not a team that completely dominated us from start to finish. This was a game where we had chances to take control. But once again, we made poor decisions, lacked sharpness in key moments, and gave ourselves too much work to do. So in case you missed the game or you want to understand exactly what went wrong, let's jump straight into this analysis. So we went into this game with no right back, no right winger, no left winger, and not even a proper striker. The injury list was already big enough, and with Isak joining it as well, we simply came into this match with no real firepower. But even with all of that, Slot still could have picked a better starting 11 than the one he went with. Rio should have started. That is one thing we are not even arguing about. We are in an injury crisis. We have no other competition left to focus on, and Rio has already shown enough to prove that he deserves far more minutes than he has been getting. So why leave him on the bench in a game like this? And the funny thing is, we even saw his impact in the second half when he finally came on. He brought energy, he gave us a different option, and he looked like one of a few players who actually wanted to make something happen. So why was he needed from the start? Well, because the game plan actually suited him. You can see us here trying to build up with a flat back 4. Why did we do that? Well, it was mainly to do with United's 4-2-4 shape out of possession. By keeping that flat back 4, we were able to push our wingers higher up the pitch, while also keeping United's wide players pinned because they had to stay closer to our deeper fullbacks. And this is exactly why Rio should have started once we saw the game plan. The structure was there for him to be useful. With Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch overloading the middle, we were able to play through United's block again and again. We used quick bounce passes, like in this example, to move the ball through the center and then find our wingers in better areas. The problem was that once we did get the ball into those wide areas, the final action was not good enough. Frimpong, Wirtz and Gakpo all had moments where they struggled to take their man on or make the right decision. So even though the build-up was actually working at times, it turned into a sterile possession once we reached the final third. And when that happens, it becomes easy for United to settle into their deep block. They were not really being pulled apart, they were not being forced into panic, and we kept arriving in good areas without doing enough with the ball. Defensively, we do not even want to talk about it, because Manchester United sliced through us in transition time and time again. Yes, they had the advantage of being fresher because they have played fewer games than us, but it was also extremely clear how much our players were struggling physically. We failed to keep up with most of their transitions, and after just 15 minutes, we were already 2-0 down. At that point, we seriously thought they were going to hammer us. The spaces were too big, the reactions were too slow, and every time they broke forward, it looked like they would create something dangerous. But then again, this also shows how poor the Premier League has been this season, especially when you look at the top clubs. If it was Arsenal or City in that same situation, the game would have probably been done and dusted before we even had a chance to respond. They would have kept attacking, kept pressing, and punished us even more. But Manchester United, who are somehow going to finish third, decided to drop deep and defend instead. And because of that, they gave us total control over the game. We started to have more of the ball, we started to push them back, and the match slowly became more about whether we could break them down than whether they could finish us off. That helped us use our central overloads much higher at the pitch. Instead of building from deep all the time, we were now able to move the ball closer to United's box and get players like Wirtz involved between the lines. You can see it in this sequence, where Wirtz drops into a good pocket of space and helps us move the ball into Gravenberch. From there, Gravenberch does really well. He uses his body to protect the ball, holds off the pressure, and still manages to get our only shot on target. But even then, that tells you a lot about the problem. We had more control, we had more possession, and we were getting into better areas, but we still did not create enough clear chances. With a different front line and with no real runners in behind, everything became a bit too slow and predictable. United could defend facing the ball, stay compact, and wait for us to make the next mistake. In the second half, actually it looked like things might get worse for us. United came out looking like they wanted to keep the ball more, slow the game down, and play their short combinations instead of just sitting back completely. For a few minutes, it felt like they were trying to take the control away from us again. Fortunately for us though, Amad Diallo gave the ball away, and from that moment, Szoboszlai did a brilliant job. He did not wait for someone else to make something happen. He took the ball himself, drove forward with purpose, and gave us the first goal that brought us back into the game. That finish was really calm as well. He carried the ball forward, then changed direction smoothly to fool Maguire and create the space for the shot. After that, he slotted the ball in so easily, like it was never really in doubt. And in a game where we were struggling to create clear-cut chances, that individual moment was exactly what we needed. The second goal also came from a United mistake, this time from a goal kick. And Gakpo suddenly found himself in the easiest situation to score. He did what he had to do, and of course we will take the goal, but again, it leaves us asking the same question. What if these two mistakes never happened? How would this game have ended? Because when you really look at it, both of our goals came from United giving us the ball in dangerous areas. It was not like we were cutting them open again and again, or creating chance after chance for our own quality. And that is the worrying part. Even with those two gifts, we still ended the game with nothing. We still struggled to create something really significant, and we still look short of ideas in moments where we had to break them down properly. So if United do not make those mistakes, they probably win this game even more comfortably, right? Maybe they even trash us. Because as bad as they were at times, we gave them too many chances to hurt us and did not do enough to punish them ourselves. And that is why this result feels so frustrating yet so deserved. It is not just because we lost to Manchester United, it's because we lost to a United side that were there to be attacked, there to be put under pressure, and there to be beaten if we actually made the right decisions in the big moments. Instead, we started slowly, defended transitions horribly, and only found our way back into the game because of two mistakes from them. Yes, the injuries are a real problem, and we cannot ignore that. No right back, no proper wingers, no striker, and players clearly look tired physically. But even with all of that, we still have to be better than this. The structure was not always bad. The build-up worked at times, and we did get into some decent areas, but once again, the final action was missing. And now, even though a Champions League spot is almost secured, this performance shows exactly why we have made the season harder than it needed to be. We still have our fate in our own hands, but we cannot keep making the same mistakes and expecting different results. So guys, do let us know your thoughts in the comments. Was this just because of the injuries, or was this just another game where we simply let ourselves down? Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for more.